Good morning. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Bob Longoria, and I currently serve as the Area 6 Vice President for Outdoor Adventure in the Western Region. I'd like to begin by saying thank you. Thank you for coming to this important training. I know there's probably a lot of things you'd like to be doing on a Saturday rather than coming to training, but this is important training and we need you to participate. I'd also like to thank you for being part of this very important assessment team. We need good volunteers to objectively assess and accredit the camps that serve our youth. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about the importance of the NCAP process and to set the stage for the training that's going to be coming up today. So just why is the NCAP process important? And NCAP, of course, stands for National Camp Accreditation Program. A while back, there were two task forces that were formed, one to look at camp standards, and the other task force was the Second Century Camping Task Force. And their purpose was to look into how to ensure quality camps and programs while maintaining safety, viability, and sustainability, and to incorporate the best practices of other quality-oriented organizations. And finally, to take a look into how to ensure that the promise of scouting was really being delivered. The Second Century Task Force came up with a number of findings. Between the years 2000 and 2010, the task force found out that council indebtedness increased more than 266%. Boy Scout camp attendance declined 14.6%. Cub Scout attendance declined 7.9%. And membership declined 10.9% for Boy Scouts and 24.6% for Cub Scouts. And very importantly, camps across the country operate at only approximately half of their aggregate capacity. So the result of the study was the National Camp Accreditation Program, or NCAP. And NCAP is really more than a repackaging of the national camp standards, although the camp standards have been changed. It's a process designed to help councils with the assistance of the area, the region, to develop a safe, high-quality, dynamic, and relevant program that appeals to youth and adults and encourages membership growth and retention. In short, each year to make the camping experience better for youth and volunteers. NCAP is a process that really operates on two cycles, and one of those will be important for you. The other one is practically taken care of by region volunteers. It's the two cycles are, the first cycle is a multi-year application and authorization to operate, in which councils focus on developing the safest and highest quality program while assuring sustainability. And the second part of this is the annual assessment and accreditation cycle, which is important to you. And this is where councils work to continuously improve its camping programs. The area verifies that the council is implementing the program as planned and provides feedback on strengths and possible improvements, and finally grants accreditation to deserving programs. The BSA began transitioning to NCAP in 2013. Aside from the assessment and accreditation cycle, which all councils go through each year, 13 councils went through the NCAP authorization to operate process in 2013. Some more councils will go through that same process in 2014. And by 2015, all councils in the United States should have completed the authorization to operate process. And the bottom line, and let me read this to you because this is how this is documented in the literature. The purpose of NCAP is to help councils elevate camps to new levels of excellence in delivering scouting's promise to youth. Councils will engage in a rigorous review of camps and properties, continuous improvement, and the correction or elimination of substandard processes and practices. So that's pretty much NCAP in a nutshell, and there's a few points that I'd like to be able to emphasize that are important as you go through the training today. First, there have been changes in the national camp standards for the year 2014. If you were part of an assessment team in 2013, there are changes to note, and those changes are going to be covered in the training that follows. If councils, and this is real important for at least Tucson, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, if a council has received an approved authorization to operate, all the terms, conditions, and commitments to the authorization to operate must be scored, and this is in addition to the national camp standards. And the Tucson Council in 2013 went through the the application for authorization and received an authorization to operate for 2 years. And so the assessment teams that go to Tucson basically have to score not only the national camp standards, but anything that the council agreed to do in the authorization to operate. So that's important. I'll mention something about scoring. The scoring hasn't changed from last year. There are basically 3 scores that you can give each one of the standards and the things that you're scoring. The first one is compliant, which means the camp meets the standard. The second one is a deviation, which means the camp meets the spirit of the standard, but doesn't meet it completely. And the third is non-compliant, which means the camp does not meet the standard with no approval for a change in the standard, no waiver or variation from the region. And it's really important to note that the deviation really isn't a failing grade. A council can receive up to 20% in deviations on the scoring before this becomes important. But a deviation is really important because it's an opportunity for a standard that hasn't been met to be improved upon. And so when a council gets a deviation, that's a little check mark that says that the council really needs to pay attention so that in the following year it can meet the standard and be compliant. Again, thank you for coming to the training, and thank you for agreeing to be on the assessment team for 2014 for Area 6. We really appreciate all the things that you're going to do on the assessment team and all the things that you do for scouting. Thank you very much, and I hope that you have a good training session today. Thank you.